Back to work on my truck again. Don't want to do it. I got plenty of work to do over there, but can't do it right now because got a broken leaf spring. And it's just hooked on to the front. It's got a loop. It goes halfway around the main spring eye. Got to take the springs off. I sprayed the U-bolts, took a wire brush and cleaned the threads off a little bit and sprayed them with some penetrating oil on both sides. Since this truck is old, I cannot get away with changing one leaf spring on one side unless I was able to find a used one that was a good fit. I would be able to try that and then just shim up the difference. But went with new springs. They're over here in my car. And they cost $1,000 for the two of them. Got them from Freightliner. They had them in stock. And then I went up to Harbor Freight and got a bottle jack, a tall bottle jack. I have one, a tall bottle jack, this size, but I only have one and I need one on each side. Need to lift up both sides of the truck at the same time. So, got to unload this stuff. It's heavy. Those springs are, I don't know what they weigh, probably 80 pounds a piece, I don't know. Well, here's the new Harbor Freight jack standing next to my old Buffalo 8-ton tall jack. They're both 2 feet tall approximately. Looks like this one, either it's sticking out a little. Let me get the handle here. Make sure that this is down all the way. Don't worry about the bolt that's in there. It's been in there for years. Just never had to take it out. Yeah, the Buffalo's a little bit taller, probably ½ an inch or so taller. Maybe closer to, yeah, a little more than ½ an inch taller, but the Buffalo's got a much bigger base on it, much more solid base. It's a good probably 3/8 of an inch on the edge, and it tapers up to close to an inch in the middle. The Harbor is like a 1/4 inch or less than a 1/4 inch, and it's a much smaller base. So that is a weak spot on it. But we'll see how they work side by side. I kind of did not expect it to be as good as the old Buffalo, even though Buffalo was not a good brand a long time ago, but their jacks were okay. Just their wrenches and sockets were not good. Screwdrivers and whatnot were not so good back then. But that's like a long time ago. We don't see Buffalo around anymore. First thing is put some tire chocks down. These are not tire chocks from the store. They're just chunks of things I got laying around here. But I got some underneath all 4 sets of tires in the back. That is slightly on the downhill side, so I don't need to put them in the front, just on the back. And then I've got to pick up this front end, and since the base is on these jacks, the Buffalo's got a fairly decent base, but the new Harbor doesn't have much of a base. And by being tall like that, it's just more likely to wobble a little bit. So we'll just carefully jack it up, and I'll leave the front wheels on to just to make sure that if something does go wrong with the jacks, at least we got wheels. Until everything is secure, and I know that that it's ready to take things apart, because there won't be any support. The springs will be off, but we have to make sure that it is well supported before I start taking the springs off of it. We'll leave the wheels on for now. I might take them off when I start taking the springs off. Okay, I'm underneath the front bumper here, and in my particular case, this mount right here that holds the radiator and the hood and some other things on the front, it's not really the thickest metal. It's only less than a 1/4 inch thick. Here's the edge of it there. I don't know if we're seeing it good. It's not that thick, so I'm not going to lift it by this, but right here is the bottom of my frame. But if you look over there, you'll see the top of the frame is cut off right there, and it goes down at an angle like this. And so I want to be as far back as I can. I could lift it out here in the front, like maybe even under this, but no, that's on the small end of the frame that's cut off. I want to leave it underneath the meatier part, where it still have some of the upper part of the frame above it. So it's going to be like more or less right in there where I think I'm going to put these jacks. One here, and then on this side, one there. That's what I'm going to try. I have not picked this truck up this way before in what is it, 17 years I think I've been driving this truck. This will be my first time lifting up both sides at the same time and letting the axle hang. I haven't done that. I've only lifted one side at a time to change leaf spring bushings and pins before. Well, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put these jacks on there and start lifting it up there and see how this looks. The biggest jack stands I got only go about 23 inches tall. And I need to go, I just measured it, I think it was 33. Now about 34 inches. So it's another 10 inches, but I don't like the jack stands. I don't want to stack up a bunch of blocks and things like that, put jack stands on. So what I'm going to do is I am going to improvise, and I'm going to cheat on this job, so you safety Sallies will have something to say. But because I got to get the job done, go back to work, and I will get it done and go back to work. But I am going to go on Amazon right now and see if I can find some bigger jack stands that will accommodate doing things like this, because I still need to do this once in a while, and it's always been a problem not being able to support the truck good once I jack it up that high. I just ordered this set of jack stands. Won't be here for a couple of days. $215 plus tax. I think it was $230. They did tax it, so it must be coming out of Illinois somewhere. Anyway, it's supposed to be here Thursday, and I do have Prime with Amazon, which guarantees 2-day delivery, but they miss that a lot. About half the time they miss it. They don't always. So it should be here Friday, I would say, let's hope. But I've already improvised. I got jacks under there on top of old brake drums, and it's better than nothing, but it's not what I like. Anyway, those jacks there will go about 46 inches high, if I remember, and they're good for 10 tons a piece. So I'm only lifting half the truck, well, a little more than half, because I'll be back behind the motor. So I still won't be lifting 10 tons. The whole truck doesn't weigh quite 10 tons. I got those two big jacks. I think they're rated at 6 tons apiece, but they'll definitely hold more than that. Anyway, they're sitting on top of these old brake drums, and they're just barely a little bit of wiggle room on top of the jacks. They extended out far enough to just almost touch. I mean, they're not. There's more. I could raise them up higher if they would go higher, but they're hitting the frame. They won't go higher, so I can let the jacks down a little bit. The wheels are off the ground. Both of the jacks are up. Anyway, I can probably take just a little bit off of these jacks, let the wheels touch the ground a little bit, and let the frame touch those jack stands back there, and then things will be a little bit more solid. We'll have it sitting on these jacks and on the jack stands. I lowered the jacks enough that we got some weight on the wheels. That will hold my axle up, and the jack stands are pressing against the truck is pressing against the jack stands, so they're stationary. So there's really no reason for anything to move, and it can't fall because the wheels are still on there. But I'm going to chock the wheels on both front and back because I don't want them rolling frontwards or backwards. They're going to have the weight of this steering mechanism on them that might try to persuade it to roll one way or the other, and it's going to screw up my alignment with getting the thing back in position. And I'm going to have an issue with that anyway because the beam is at a set back angle, and as soon as I get it unbolted, it's probably going to swing farther down because it's at an angle like this. It's going to swing more like this and try to straighten itself out. But with the wheels chocked, hopefully it won't roll out of position too much, because this is not a car. This is a lot of weight. I don't know how much weight we got between the two tires, the whole brake and steering system, and the big I-beam. I'm sure we probably got 1,000 pounds for all of it together, maybe more, I don't know. And it's going to be very hard to wrestle that around if it rolls out of position on me. So let me chock these wheels and start taking these bolts off the bottom down there, and the lower shackles on the back, and there's only one. These just clamp on the bottom here. It's just two clamps that go, bolts that go from here right through the top here. We just unclamp that and that'll come off.